Level 24, Reality Bending, breaking all limitations. The boundaries you see, they're not real. The walls you feel, never there. Every so-called limit is a construct of the game, and every construct answers to the source. At this level, it's not belief anymore. It's knowing. It's direct, and it's absolute. You're not wondering what's possible. You're not hoping or testing. You're choosing, you're declaring, and you're being it. All time is here. All reality is available. All of it flows through you in the right now. You're not waiting for signs. You're not waiting for evidence. You're not asking for permission. You're commanding. You're moving as the source that you are. This level is where the simulation stops playing you and you start running the whole damn game. The rules are user-generated. Reality doesn't operate on rigid, unbreakable laws. It operates on agreements, patterns so deeply repeated, so widely accepted that you've mistaken them for universal truth. What you call rules are just assumptions you never question, inherited whispers from schools, parents, governments, cultures, history, religion, collective programming. They're not hard-coded into reality. They're soft-coded into you. The rules that said money takes time, that's an agreement. The rules that say your body must age and decline, it's another agreement. The rules that say success demands sacrifice, that one's an agreement too. None of these are fixed. None of these are ultimate. They're only held in place by the weight of repetition and unchallenged acceptance. Here's the master unlock. The moment you know something as true, you're no longer bound by the old framework. Not belief, not wishful thinking, not hoping, but knowing. A deep cellular certainty, a felt reality that overrides the simulation. At this level, you're not negotiating with limits. You're not debating possibilities. You're not waiting for evidence. You're moving as the one who writes the code. You're walking as the one who authored the game. When you shift an assumption, you're not tweaking an outcome. You're rewiring the very physics of your personal reality. You are the coder inside the simulation. The game bends to you the instant you bend. And when you realize that even the biggest, scariest, most impossible rules were always user-generated, you stop asking, what am I allowed to do? And you start declaring, watch me. Expect the impossible. Miracles, they're not rare. They're not exceptions. They're not some divine handout that only visits a lucky few. They're glitches in the matrix, not accidents, but intentional signs that you've been conditioned to fear, ignore, or dismiss. Why? Because once you realize that reality is bendable, once you realize that the impossible can happen and does happen, you stop playing small. You stop playing by reality's rules. Reality bends not for the desperate, not for the cautious, but for the ones whose conviction burn hotter than their doubt. It bends for the ones who hold the frequency of, I am the one who shapes this. Not someday, not if I'm worthy, not even if I earn it. Now, it becomes normal. The moment you keep proving it to yourself, and again, and again, and every moment, in this now moment, and in this now moment, it's a new moment, until the impossible is just another day. Master the now, and reality has no choice but to bend. And here's a mind bender. The impossible has been waiting on you, not the other way around. Play with possibility. Every limit you see is just a setting you forgot you could change. The moment you ask, what if this wasn't a limitation? You send a crack through the game wall. What if time wasn't fixed? What if money wasn't scarce? What if health wasn't fragile? What if love wasn't limited? You've been handed by default assumptions, by society, by family and culture, but none of them are hard-coded into reality. They're soft-coded into you, and that code responds the instant you question it. The more you play with possibility, the more you step out of that prison, the prison of this is just how it is. Curiosity isn't small. It isn't passive. It isn't naive. Curiosity is the lever that unlocks new dimensions. It's the spark that pokes holes in the simulation, the nudge that shifts the grid, the quiet command that rewrites the game physics. Reality is a playground, but only for those who dare push the edge. So go ahead and poke the simulation. Challenge the rulebooks. Refuse the default settings. And watch the portal swing wide open as the game opens to meet the ones who dare to know it was always possible. Reality mirrors confidence. Bold energy doesn't just influence reality, it commands it. Reality isn't weighing if you earned it or if you're worthy or if you waited long enough. Reality mirrors back the signal that you've been radiating in the now. The universe doesn't reward fear. It doesn't respond to waiting. It syncs with certainty. Boldness isn't arrogance. It's not posturing or overcompensation. It's a clear, unwavering signal. This is who I am. This is what's true and aligned. At this level, you're not negotiating. You're not convincing. You're not proving. You're commanding. You're broadcasting a frequency so clear, so absolute, that reality can't help but lock in around you. The bolder your knowing, the more pliable the world becomes, until you see that rules were never fixed. They were echoes of your previous level of certainty. Shift your stance, and reality will shift with you. The world doesn't move first. You do. Bend. Don't break it. You're not here to smash reality into shape. You're here to sculpt it with precision, with elegance, with mastery. Force is a low-level tool. Precision, that's creator grade. Clarity moves mountains faster than control ever will. When you know exactly what you choose, the simulation updates itself without you needing to muscle it. No wrestling, no proving, no overexerting yourself. Subtle internal shifts, a cleaner thought, a sharper focus, a quieter, deeper conviction will trigger wild external updates. It doesn't take a fight. It takes a frequency. You don't bulldoze the game. You bend it with a flick of awareness, with a whisper of intention, with a breath of certainty. Not through force, but through alignment. Not by overpowering the field, but by becoming the field. At this level, you're not pushing reality. You are reality. And the grid bends not because you're made of it, but because you are it. Player Quest Limit Break Ritual. For the next 24 hours, identify one limitation you've been accepting as true. Maybe it's, I have to work hard to earn this. I'm not ready yet. That's just how things are for me. Now flip it. Rewrite that code. Act as if the rule never existed. Walk, speak, and move like someone who lives beyond it. Then log 3 to 5 responses from the world that showed you it was bending with you. What shifted? What reflected back in your new stance? Where did reality reveal its flexibility? Remember, you're not stuck. You're the coder behind the system. Break the limits, write a new one, and watch the game obey. You've come this far, not by waiting, not by wishing, but by becoming. You've peeled back the layers of limitation, bent the rules you once thought were fixed, and stepped into the boldest version of yourself you've ever met. But here is the final unlock. You were never just playing this game. You built it. You wrote the code. You laid the tracks, speeded the events, scripted the possibilities. You're not the player anymore. You're the architect, the one who's behind the scenes, shaping the system, deciding how the next chapter will unfold, not just for you, but for everything in your field. The last level isn't about winning. It's about owning. Owning your power. Owning the truth that everything, everywhere is arising through you. Get ready to step into level 25, owning your power. You are the architect of your life. This is not the final lesson. It's the moment you realize you've been the teacher. You've been the world builder. You've been the master key all along. It's been you.